Okay, guys. So
Let me see where it's facing.
it's facing.
Does it show my face?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're going to film a vlog of us reading this book, Supernatural Places, the Guide to the World's Supernatural Places, and we're gonna be reading it with my little puppy here, and my big brother's gonna read it for us.
Reading Urban Legends. Hang on.
Urban Legends.
Yeah, let's see here.
Urban Legends give the chills in my spine. We're not going to censor anything out. If it's inappropriate for your child, then it's inappropriate for your child. Okay. They're being stupid.
Let's see the table of
There's tables on there.
contents.
It's after the page of the
There it
here.
is. Myths and Legends, is that right?
Yeah, myths and legends. I don't think there's going to be any urban legends in there, but who knows? Could be. This is myths and legends. Oh wow, it has a little picture of a unicorn. It's fucking. Look at them. Look at that.
Alright, Myths and Legends.
Yeah.
Loch Ness, Scottish Highlands, Scotland. Many people believe that Scotland's deepest lake contains a prehistoric long-necked monster. Around 20 miles long, 1 mile wide, and more than 700 feet deep, Loch Ness forms a freshwater scar in the Scottish Highlands. It is world famous for the legend of the Nazi monster. The first recorded sighting was by St. Columba and his followers in the 6th century AD. When walking next to the lake, the saint asked one of his men to swim out and retrieve an abandoned boat. As the man entered the water, a huge beast rose up and let out a mighty roar. St. Columba held up his cross and shouted at the beast, commanding it to do no harm. According to the story, the monster swirled around and plunged back into the lake's dark depths. Tales of a Loch Ness monster proliferated in the 1930s. In April 1933, a Scottish couple, Mr. and Mrs. Mackay, were driving alongside the loch when Mrs. Mackay noticed a disturbance in the water. She initially thought it was a duck fight, but as she looked closer, she saw a huge creature in the middle of the loch, rolling and plunging through the surging water. By 1934, photographs of the Loch Ness monster began to appear in the press. Many were clearly staged, but a picture taken by London doctor Robert Kenneth Wilson showing the creature with a small head and long neck captured the public's imagination. And reports and photographs of this infamous creature proliferated. They continue to surface. Many believe Nessie is descendant of an ancient basilosaur.
I have to go to the bathroom, so I'm just gonna film Roxy. Okay. It's still filming. Film Roxy.
Now for a commercial break with Roxy. Roxy's face, Roxy's face. It's a lovely, lovely face. Roxy's face, Roxy's face. This lovely, lovely face. Roxy's face, Roxy's face. And that is the Loch Ness monster. Roxy lunch, jumping on books, also love. Page 213. Come on, Roxy, let's go on a trip. Let's go on a trip. Bruh, look at the dudes.
Let it go over there.
Hello, baby.
Want to get up here?
This is presented by Roxy's Face. Eat a box. And she's back!
I just had to go. Okay. Look at her.
We are on page 213.
Doink. Doink. Oh, that's too big. Perfect. He's finding that page. Look at this little beauty. This little beauty. I know, I love you too. Your clothes are stupid.
Okay. Dune Hill, Aberfawley, Scotland. A creaking pine tree on this wooded hill is said to contain the soul of a clergyman who haunted fairies. Many locals prefer to avoid Dune Hill for fear of the fairies that are said to have imprisoned the soul of Reverend Robert Kirk there in 1692. Kirk was minister of Aberfawley Parish. A fascination for local folk tales led him to publish a book about the land of the fairies, in which he claimed Dune Hill was the gateway to a secret fairyland. He claimed he had visited the hill daily and eventually found his way to a magical portal that led to the innermost fairy court. According to local myth, the Dune Hill fairies were angry about the intrusion into their sacred world and decided to imprison Kirk if he ever returned. One night in May, Kirk walked to the hill dressed only in his nightshirt. He collapsed at the top of the hill and was not found until the next day. His rescuers took him home, but he died soon after and was buried in his own churchyard. It was believed that the fairies took Kirk's body, filled his coffin with stones, and then imprisoned his soul in a huge pine tree at the top of Dune Hill. Visitors to Dune Hill write their wishes on pieces of white silk, which they tie to branches of the trees, both to placate and petition fairies.
Jody, what are you doing?
We're reading. Don't interrupt. We're making a vlog.
What?
We're making a vlog.
We're making a vlog?
A vlog. Me and him. Just read.
It is also said that if you run around the great pine tree 7 times, the fairies will appear. And then there's...
Which one is that? Which pine tree is that? Is there only one pine tree? Is there many pine trees?
Okay. Camelot, Somerset, England. King Arthur and his... We are still vlogging. We're going to read these 2 and then we're going to be done.
Yeah. Okay. We'll make another vlog for you later, guys. No, leave her in.
King Arthur and his knights were said to sleep under Cadbury Hill.
Guys, no, just you can keep talking.
Under Cadbury Hill, deep in the Somerset countryside. According to legend, the Iron Age hill fort on Cadbury Hill near the market town of Yeovil is the site of Camelot, court of the mythical King Arthur. The 16th century historian John Lennon... No, we do not want to see him. No, I don't want to see that. I want to see this.
That's how I caught my dog. No!
The 16th century historian John Leland, advisor to Henry the Seventh, was the first to link Cadbury with Camelot. He called it Camelot. Archaeologists believe it may have gained this reputation because in the 6th century it was the base of a warrior leader, possibly called Arthur. An archaeological investigation of the 18-acre site in the late 1960s revealed that it had been massively fortified during the 6th century, at the time when King Arthur is said to have flourished. Yes, that is definitely beautiful. But not as beautiful as him. Alright.
Was this an airplane just passed us?
No, it didn't, Jody.
No, I said what if.
That's rare. We're not done.
Oh, the bullshit thing. Okay, I'm gonna go change.
Castile Dennis Braun, Denbighshire, Wales. This ruined castle in the hills of Wales harbors legends of knights, a giant, and a secret cache of gold. Built on the site of an Iron Age hill fort, Castile Dennis Braun, or Crow Castle, was already a ruin by the 13th century, believed by locals to be haunted by evil spirits. No one had the courage to stay in the castle until a proud and vain knight called Pan Perville decided to challenge local wisdom. Perville and 15 knightly followers made a pact to spend the night in the castle, signing their oath in blood. That evening, after much feasting and drinking, they settled down to sleep within the crumbling wall. According to local legend, before long, a storm swept across the castle hill, rousing an evil... Huh?
Why? What time is it?
How would I know, Jody?
Okay, we're done reading.
No, we're not.
Oh, finish this and then we'll go.
I'll read as we walk.
Okay. I'll get the leaves.
According to local legend, before long, a storm swept across the castle hill, rousing an evil, mace-wielding giant named Gogmagog, who set upon the castle's unwanted visitors. Perville defended his men and fatally stabbed Gogmagog with his sword. As the giant lay dying, he told the story of his rival, King Braun, who had built Castile Dennis Braun in a vain attempt to defend himself against the giant. The king had eventually admitted defeat and fled the castle, leaving the giant free to occupy the fortress and terrorize the land. As the giant grew weaker, he told Perville that a stash of treasure lay buried beneath the walls of Dennis Braun, including gold and precious jewelry, before he could reveal the location. However, the giant died and the treasure was never discovered.